Let's talk about talent acquisition and development strategy. That's our 11th of our top 20 supersizing your business strategies, growing your business and creating the business that you want. And it, of course, we're breaking down into 4 simple steps in case you're not already doing this. If you aren't, I'd like to ask why. And a lot of times, there's things that we need to keep in mind when it comes to this. But what are the 4 main things? And then I'll add my 2 cents worth on a couple of them. Number 1, skills assessment. What do we need in our organization in order to grow and build and supersize? Each different stage of our business requires different skills, different abilities. And you know what? We personally don't have all those skills and abilities. We need to find people to work with us and to help us to grow and build and supersize our business. No one I've ever met has built an extremely large supersize, as I would define supersize business, on their own. It's impossible. Number 1, we need people to buy our products and services. Number 2, we need people to help us build the infrastructure that can support and serve the people who buy our products and services. Unless you're selling a $10 million product or service, you are not going to be able to do it on your own. And even if you are, I doubt you can deliver a $10 million value service all by yourself. So what do we need? The first thing we need to do is a skills assessment. The second thing we need to do, once we decide what it is that we need to support our business growth, is have some kind of recruitment strategy. How are we going to fill those skills and things that we need for our business? And how are we going to, well, first in skills assessments, we want to identify what is missing and how, and then second step is how are we going to fill that? How are we going to recruit and find good talent to help supplement the skills and the requirements that we have in order to grow and build and supersize our business? We could recruit, we can network, we can advertise, we can place strategic job postings, we can go for referrals and word of mouth, we can hire people that we know. I highly recommend not just hiring friends and family unless they actually have the skills that you need. Here I want to say something about hiring. I learned and have learned through decades of experience, literally hiring thousands and thousands of people in both corporate America as well as in my own businesses and partnering with different people. We join forces with or hire teammates that for their character, their morals, their values, their work ethic, their tenacity, their ability to get things done and to get results, not for skills. We can teach people skills. Anyone on the planet can learn any skill they want to, but if you don't have the self-starter, work ethic, desire, passion to create and help create something, then there's no point in hiring that person. The second thing on that I want to comment on based on my vast years of experience in this area is hire slowly when you're adding team members to your organization, because it is a huge commitment for the 2 steps that follow, as well as fire quickly or let go. I like to say let go instead of fire, even though oftentimes we have to let people go. Sometimes we actually have to fire them because we realize they don't have the character, the work ethic, the morals or the values or the skills that we thought they did when we hired them in the first place. And that's the whole thing about making sure you're doing your homework, researching. Check people out. Don't just take them on face value or what their resume says. I think that, I can't remember what the statistics are, but like 80 or 90% of stuff on resumes is, of course, tweaked to make the person look really, really good. But, you know, it's like Photoshop pictures. People Photoshop their pictures to make them look better. People tweak their resumes to make them appear in the best light or to match the job that they're trying to land. So what is your recruitment strategy? What are your hiring philosophies? What are your processes and procedures for this? Again, I think we have to have processes and systems for everything, and adding people to our organization is no different. How do we go about doing it? In the beginning, it's probably just you that added people. Well, how did you do that? How did you pick people? What were your criteria? Did you interview them? Did you have them go through a rigorous assessment process, etc.? One of the things I added early on in my career was having everybody do, and I learned this in corporate America because Knight Ridder did it to me when they hired me. I went down and I had psychological evaluations and I did all kinds of personality tests and assessments down at corporate headquarters before I was hired on at that company as one of my corporate moves. Step 3 is employee development. Guess what? Why are we going to bring people into our organization if we're not going to help them grow and train and develop and become the best possible version of themselves within the framework of our organization? So how are we going to do that? How are we going to provide ongoing training and continuous mentorship and feedback in order to help them grow, and advancement opportunities. Guess what? People don't stay with companies very long if there is no opportunity to grow or advance, unless they're desperate and locked into, and that's a whole mindset thing that is a tale for another day. And finally, our step 4 is performance evaluations. I could talk about performance evaluations for probably about a week. I've done literally thousands and thousands of them in my lifetime, and I always tweaked whatever the organization in corporate America, I learned to do this, had for their format for doing feedback, and tweaked it to make it a lot more positive experience for the people that reported to me, because generally people dread performance appraisals. Why? Because usually, at least my experience in the past has been, people are just using them, number one, to decide if you're going to get a bonus or not, and number two, or a raise, and number two, which, upper management usually want to minimize those, and so they're always looking for things that people are doing wrong. Guess what happens if you're always pointing out what people are doing wrong? You're getting more of that behavior, and we don't want that. So I flipped that on its head, and early on, even though it wasn't part of the corporate guidelines or the corporate way of doing things, I implemented 360 feedback systems, and we had, actually, people looked forward to doing their annual feedback because they were an active participant in the process. They picked the people that were going to give them feedback, and their boss was automatically going to give them feedback, but then they got to pick people in the organization at different levels that were going to provide feedback for them. And it was really, I learned a lot about people and the process. I learned a lot about myself by using that in different businesses and organizations, and I learned about the power of positive reinforcement and building on people's strengths versus building on their weaknesses. So curious, are you using the talent acquisition and development strategy in your business? If not, why not? It's kind of like the process one we talked about a couple of days ago. It's a no-brainer because it's something that you have 100% control over. And anything we can control in our business to grow and supersize it without outside factors negatively impacting it, those are things we want to do for sure. Just my opinion, of course, but I highly recommend it. Love to know your take on this. What do you do? What have you found that works for you really, really well in this area of your organization? Like I said, my biggies have been hire slow, let go fast, hire for character and things like that, not just skills, because skills can be learned. And guess what? I learned this early on in my career as well, because I went to college for a whole lot of years, got out of college, and as soon as I got my first corporate job, guess what they did? They taught me everything I needed to know the way they wanted me to know it in that organization, by being part of their culture. And that's what we do. I think college a lot of the times just teaches us how to learn and assimilate and get along socially with people, and then we go to an organization and it's like we're starting all over again. At least that's been my experience. All right, have an awesome day, and I will be with you tomorrow with another top 20 supersizing your business strategy.